All right. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday night, and you know what that means. That at least 10 of you are going to enjoy Wearables Weekly. It's episode 37. I'm here with the usual cast of characters. I've got my partner in crime, Keith, all the way over on, well, it probably doesn't look the same for the people watching, but he's on the bottom.
Hey, everyone.
I've got Libby with me again.
Hi.
And Noble is here as well.
Hello.
No Cecilia this evening. She's a slacker. Oh, well.
Cecilia's driving
she's
up
trying
from
to
San Diego.
She's driving. Okay, we'll let her off the hook this time.
No hangouts while driving.
I've missed a couple. Yeah, she's gotten enough tickets and
Good news. You wanted that.
with glass. So we'll get this party started quickly. Let's see, quick intro. We'll talk about the big news from last week, which I guess was the Glass Night Out. Seemed like a big hit. It got coverage on Engadget and a lot of local news networks, which is really awesome. Way to go, everybody that was involved with that.
Trish Wetzel put it on in our area in Palo Alto, and she did a great job with it. She picked. Do you remember the coffee shop? It was Cafe something.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the name.
Place in Palo
Sorry to say
Alto.
But the company was awesome. It was about 15 people here in Palo Alto, and I think they were all over the country, so there were several others.
Nothing I've ever done has been covered in Engadget. It's one of my small goals. Someday I will have something make it into Engadget.
Well, I think the idea is you should reach out to Engadget when you put on a.
I mean, I've definitely done the submit a tip or whatever, but I don't have any peoples there that I know, so that's okay. Enough of my jealousy. It doesn't matter. It's just silly. Jason Salas and Alan Furstenberg published the Glass Design and Development book, I think by O'Reilly. They were on the show, you guys were saying, about a year ago, which is convenient timing, and they gave a shout-out to Sogi in the book, so that's awesome.
Great job, guys.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Now we just have to read it. 400 pages.
While I have everybody at home captivated, although all of us are at home as well, I just want to say we love having you as viewers, all 10 to 20 of you, and if you could, please tell your friends, because we need to grow this show and make it more awesome. So tell your friends to give us a watch and ask us some questions. That always makes the show easier. So that covers the welcome, I think, right? Anybody else got any welcome stuff?
No, I think you got it.
This show's always interesting
good
when
welcome.
I'm hosting.
That was a very detailed welcome. I'd like to welcome the welcome onto the show.
Yes! Thank you, welcome, for participating with us this evening. That was awkward.
No. So the text that we got before the show that came from Aaron had said that, what was it? I shouldn't drink a liter before I go on the show.
Yes, I had a liter of beer. I'm not a big, well, I mean, I like drinking beer, but I don't usually drink more than one at any given moment. And I was at a German restaurant, and they were like, do you want the liter, the half liter, the quarter liter? And I was like, I don't even know what a liter is. So
When in Rome.
let's just go with the big one.
Now, did they serve that to you with white radishes and sausage, or what's the...
I got it's called Schnitzeltopf. Schnitzeltopf. My wife is calling. We'll just ignore that. Sorry, babe. On the show. Watch it later. So I had Schnitzeltopf, and it was amazing. It's like a chicken fried steak patty, I think, type thing that's fried, and then it had cheese over the top, and then a mushroom sauce on it, served with spetzel noodly stuff. Oh, it was so good. And then I had a liter of beer.
Yeah, it sounds like you lost an artery officially.
I didn't even finish. I couldn't even eat it all. And then my mom's like, hey, let's get a Black Forest cake. And I'm like, you're buying, right?
And there goes an artery.
She said yes. And so I said, yeah, Black Forest cake sounds awesome. So, man, I sound cheap, don't I? All right, so now enough of my dinner, although it was delicious. We should move on to, let's see, do we want to start at the top? Or I kind of want to jump right into XE17. I'm just going to mix this up a little bit because I think it's kind of a big deal would not be the correct wordage. It's a deal. XE17 is definitely a deal. I'm so far very whelmed. I'm not impressed. Nothing seems to have really changed for me, at least in
You're whelmed.
Yes, I'm whelmed.
Okay.
I'm neither over nor underwhelmed. I am just whelmed. It's pretty much exactly what I was getting before. It's slow.
Sounds about right. Except you're still getting loops, right? Boot loops.
I actually have. Well, I haven't had a boot loop since I updated to 17 yet, but I updated to 17, pulled it off to see if it was running better, noticed that it was still running really, really slow, decided I didn't care, put it back on the charger, and left. So
I woke up this morning to a healthy bowl of boot loops, and it was part of a complete breakfast because it just went through midday, and it seems to be stable now. I don't know. Maybe it had the hiccups or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have the issue before, so luckily it didn't introduce anything that I've noticed. But Libby,
it hasn't gotten worse.
No, I did not plug my glass in last night, and I just got the opportunity to plug it in right now, and it's pretty much completely drained. So I will let you know by the end of the show whether or not I keep getting the boot loops.
Just like our patience.
But it was only advertised for bug fixes. They didn't say which bugs, so I'll assume it's supposed to just get it back to as stable as it was on 12 XE. When was the last time that we had a good
stable was XE12, and frankly, that was pre-KitKat, right? So, we as explorers, we should, I know we all know this, but we should sort of understand that this is sort of a gamble to make this platform a lot more scalable in the future, and make it a lot cooler to work on. So I'm sort of giving Glass a pass. I actually am sort of digging some new features that have gone no one's really talked about. I misspoke last week about the functionality behind the auto backups when I said it still requires you to be on Wi-Fi. That is not true. Just the wording is a little confusing. So I've been able to sort of verify that. Also, this is not, release related, but the calendar app is awesome.
I agree.
So Jeff from the chat window wants to know, do any of you guys have any problems with your pictures with the new update?
That's exactly what I was talking about before the show started, Jeff. So this morning I went for a run at 5 a.m. and saw a beaver in the pond where we run, and I was like, "Ooh, beaver! I like taking pictures of beaver." That was awkward. So I tried to take a picture.
It's an interesting animal to anyway. I'll let that go.
Yeah, they're like furry rodents that eat wood. Oh my gosh, this is getting worse.
So what happened to your picture? Let's get back on track.
And class is like, nuh-uh-uh. I'm like, come on, take a picture. Nuh-uh-uh. And so I gave up, got home, saw the XE17 was available, updated, pulled it off, tried it, nuh-uh-uh, and was like, I'm out. So, yes, I have had picture problems. That was a horrible story to tell to explain it, and I apologize.
I think you just need to change the animal from now on.
But it was a beaver. It was really a beaver.
To Aaron's credit, he mentioned this in a hangout, and it was a beaver. So
I can show you a picture I ended up getting of the beaver, or a neighbor got a really good picture of the beaver that I can show you.
You wouldn't be able to get a great picture with glass to start with, Aaron. I mean, the wide angle. I mean, I'm sure you're not really up close to the beaver, so you.
So they don't move very fast, Noble. Or at least they're not afraid enough to move very fast. Like I was maybe. I don't know.
Are they dangerous? I imagine they're like rabbit or something.
I don't know if they're rabid. Yes, they are, but I can't imagine they would be.
I don't think they get rabid, and I think they just eat wood, so I don't see one attacking a human. They are big though, like they're intimidatingly large.
Beavers with the flat tails and a whole nine.
Yes.
Okay, great. I got you now.
You guys, none of you live in the South, right? So you don't know what like a Nutri-Rat is or any of that.
No. Nutri-Rat. No, we used to live in the South. We still don't know what a Nutri-Rat is.
What else do they call them?
Further south than that, I guess.
So it's like this giant swamp rat. In fact, I think it's the largest rodent in the United States.
By the way, for those who are listening, this is wearable news.
Yes, it really is. This is what happens when you let me host. So yeah, it's like a smaller version of what the heck else do they call these things? They're like giant swamp rats.
Like
those things are terrifying.
Or something, is it?
I used to do. I was a land surveyor when I lived in Houston for a little while, and we would. I would do the bayous in Houston, and every once in a while you'd see this giant rat thing swimming in the water, and it was just terrifying.
Are you talking about? The little things that look like little baby seals?
Oh no, these are not little. These are like 80, 120-pound creatures.
And one thing I like about
they're terrifying. I'm telling you, I was terrified of Nutri-Rats. I'm gonna look them up. I don't remember what else they're called.
Nutri-Rats are awesome because they wear these smartwatches that are kinetic. So
Nutria.
Yeah.
I was pronouncing it wrong. Nutria.
Right.
And here.
Thank you, Noble, in your valiant attempt to get us back on track.
No, we're not. It's not going to happen. Here, I'm going to show you a picture of them because they're terrifying, and all of you should be terrified of the Nutria. I'll just screen share.
Let's screen share it.
I know one thing about Nutria rats. Whenever they come out in public with Google Glass on, they always get some flack. Lately, it's been very, very rampant in San Francisco. Oh my goodness!
They're huge. Look at that. That's a guy's hand, the size of its head.
I don't like how red his teeth are. Did he bite this guy?
Yeah, it's a little disturbing.
Yeah, they're scary.
You're gonna need to talk through it, Aaron.
I've seen these before. They called them something different for some reason.
Koipu?
I can't remember what they're called.
Anyways, they're scary. If you see one, run the other direction. Or if you're in water up to your waist, somehow find a way to climb out of that water as quickly as possible. That's what my problem always was.
Interesting. So back to what you were talking about before, because we're all intrigued about this. These guys and the beavers were having a meeting about wearables behind your phone?
Yes, they were talking about Epson's latest Android glasses that have finally arrived.
Oh, yes.
What did they have to say?
Segway. So let's see. Yeah, they're like $700 and they run Android 4.0. I think that's what I gathered from the conversation.
You know, one thing I've been really surprised with the news coverage is that they haven't once shown what this thing actually looks like. I mean, they showed a picture of the device, but not like what you see wearing it, which you think is the whole point of getting it, right?
I'm still not sure what the functionality is. What does it do? I guess you can watch a movie maybe, or I guess it's better.
The Epson Movero?
So these are the second-gen Moveros. Yeah, okay. That would be very hard to show you what you see through them.
I've definitely tried them out, and I can confirm that it is what they advertise. It's just an overlaid, whatever, almost monochrome. The one that I tried anyway had little monochrome vectors overlaid over your.
Okay, so we know it runs Android 4.0, but like, what is the display? I mean, is it something like
it's
cards interface?
Two displays that project in front of you, and it's on a clear display. So I tried them like 3 years ago at I/O, the original version, the Movero Gen 1. And it's funny, everybody that used it ends up going like this, similar to what we do with glass. But they all, like we were sitting at a table and everybody was trying them, and we would all look over the other people's heads, so we had a white wall behind them and we could see what was going on.
Because you want to be able to focus versus have transparent stuff blocking it. Yeah, I had that same issue.
They had the whole point of. Did you see the soccer demo, Noble?
No,
it was like this player was playing soccer and the ball would come at you, and it was kind of cool.
Oh.
Interesting.
I mean, I hate to belabor the point, but it wasn't the point of an augmented reality device to be to augment reality, not to like move it out of the way so you're seeing it.
Yeah. I don't think these are intended for consumer use, though.
That's a problem
Probably
with
not.
reality. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, I think as far as consumer use, I think at this point it's not. Right now, I know they're trying to encourage developers to write apps for it. Eventually, someday.
What were you going to say, Noble, about augmented reality?
Well, yeah. So you have the issue where you're out in daylight, and you want to be able to sort of focus on one side of the area that doesn't seem too I'm so distracted by Aaron dancing, by the way.
Sorry.
So you have the reason why we
like listening to you talk.
We've seen it with glass. We just want to sort of focus on something clear and plain versus. But yeah, the guys over at APX Labs just cleared a huge, I think $10 million round to build stuff for that and glass and stuff like that. So I need to run out to Arlington and check them out.
Okay, I'll make one final attempt. So this thing costs $700. Why would I buy it? Like, what is it doing for a person that's wearing it? Because I really haven't ever tried it on.
So you wouldn't buy it unless Intel wanted to buy it. Like this doesn't have sort of a touch or voice activated screen, or at least not as seamless as glass. It has a touch screen. It's actually built, in my opinion, for the enterprise. So if you had a use case, and the guys at APX Lab have some demos that they've sort of posted online. You're a surveyor out in the oil field, and you have certain points of interest that their software called Skylight sort of overlays over your glasses. That gives you a little bit more intelligence than having to sort of guess by looking at a map on a laptop, right? So it frees your hands in order to sort of do more stuff. And actually, it doesn't really free your hands because, as I said, the controls are, gesture-based, so it's a little tab touchscreen thing that you hold. So
interesting. So it's kind of like having sky maps in front of you.
That's one
at all times.
Yeah,
okay.
that's yeah.
I do notice in the notes here that apparently it also has a camera, so you can do some streaming, but also an LED light. So apparently trying to avoid the issue that glass constantly has. I'm sorry, LED light that indicates the camera's on.
Yeah, but again, it's not a consumer play, so even if it didn't have an LED light, it really wouldn't matter. They're just sort of stuck in the 90s. That's why, like, no electronics. None of your phone doesn't have an LED light either, like, except for that VHS powered Panasonic video recorder that we used to have, right? So,
sure.
All right, I'm skipping the next one because I don't know. Do you guys use the Field Trip app?
Absolutely, I used it today. It's
really?
One of my favorite apps.
Oh, it annoys the crap out of me.
Well, turn it. You say I get this all the time. If the software or glassware in this case gives you the ability, I believe there's one app you may not have heard of. It's called WingFeed. Right. So you go on there in the settings and you dial it down or you dial it up. For me, I dial it only to ingress portals, but even so, you can actually now. The reason why this update was significant, and that's why it's, I don't know who. Thanks for whoever put it in the notes, is that you can actually turn off all the passive notifications that it sends you, and actually then voice commands say things around me, or what was the?
Oh, so it doesn't notify you anymore. That was my problem with it.
It's a preference, right?
Yeah.
Some people are traveling and will want to know that they're right next to the place that Don Quixote.
Can you delete a notification now when it sends it? Because that was my beef before. Is one, I didn't think there were preferences at that point.
Turn off all the notifications.
Yeah.
Which you can. It's been the same way since Field Trip came out on the mobile phone. You can turn off all the notifications, but now you can just say you can actually use a voice explore around me and sort of find little points of interest that are around the area that you are in. And I think it's infinitely valuable now.
When I enabled Field Trip for glassware, when I first got glass, it was not obvious how to adjust the notification because I looked for that setting.
You weren't a Field Trip mobile user then.
No, I was not.
That's why. Yeah.
Because I thought
Field
it was
Trip
annoying.
has a website that is pretty. You need to check it out.
I'm sure it's come a long ways too, so it's probably much better than it used to be. But, okay.
So I just enabled it just so I could try this while we were on the show, but it says it only works for like 30 days. You have to keep re-enabling it every 30 days.
What do you mean?
It only never mind. It's probably just something about the site. When I went onto the My Glass page, when I gave it my credentials, it said remember for the next 30 days for this app.
Huh, interesting.
Definitely.
I wonder if that's new for all apps. That's interesting.
Sorry.
I hope
Go ahead.
The evolution of glass over 2 years. What is this one?
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't see this earlier.
Who posted that in
it's
there?
a photo. Here, I'll screen share.
Oh.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, well, we've seen this, right? This was talked about at I/O. For those who don't know, Glass was pretty much a Galaxy Nexus. I think it's being casted. I'm not watching the Hangout screen, but it was a Galaxy Nexus slapped to the side of the face, and then it became smaller, and it continue to get smaller. Not much there. Next.
Still running pretty much the same hardware, though.
It is. Texas Instruments, FTW.
They don't even make mobile processors anymore.
Says who? Speak for yourself.
Says Texas Instruments.
Oh, sorry.
They stopped making them like 2 years ago, or a year ago, I think.
I think Google took over their leftover stock for Glass.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, here, we'll buy them all. All right, moving along. Look at us. We're gonna we're gonna finish on time.
I know.
Don't be silly. It's
biometric wearables. The signal. Is this the shirt you shared with me? Yeah. Greatest video of all time.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't like the promo video.
I think it's very well produced.
So the promo video, Aaron sort of loses sight of what this shirt can actually do. We're actually moving
They just don't tell you what the shirt can do until like a minute and a half into it.
Well,
and that was my
classic commercial.
Right.
I will admit, when I was watching through it, I got bored 10 seconds into it and just fast-forwarded it. So close to the end.
See what I was saying, Noble? See what I was saying?
Okay, so imagine a world where, everything that you wear has some sort of a sensor to it. These guys are sort of working towards that utopia, right? So, whether you're wearing, a tank top or, long sleeve or a short sleeve shirt and you're working out or just casually walking about your day, the sensors, that's a little box that sort of tucks away at the bottom of the shirt, is able to sort of track your steps, from basic things like tracking how many steps you've taken to how heavy you're breathing, how your EKG readings, and to me, I got really, really excited. We actually reached out to them this morning and heard back. They tweeted us back, and we've been conversing on email. But you can imagine, something that can even save your life. And I don't want to sound too, over the top here, but imagine something that is actually tracking your breathing habits, and over time you have a pattern. It actually detects that you have, how you breathe, and when your resting heart rate is at a certain point. I mean, if you have a heart attack, it will be able to, in theory, know that this is not normal and help you, sort of reach whatever help that you might need. And that's a little bit over the top. And
I would say it's not quite there yet, though, right? I know we were kind of talking
about the future.
You'll be surprised. You should check out their video if you haven't already.
Just skip the first minute.
No. I'm not talking about that video. That's a commercial, and that's how it's supposed to be. I'm not going to get into that. I'm talking about an interview with Robert Scoble, where they get into details, Libby, and it's actually quite frightening how close to something like that they have. As they said in the interview, they probably may want to skirt that for now because of FDA and regulatory approval. That's sort of a bear that not a lot of people.
Right, but how long is the battery life?
We don't know. They're not too clear on that. They do sort of talk about 90-minute workouts on their website. So it's not too clear. It's obviously not too good now. I'm sure it's not well optimized.
Right now, it's not something that you can wear all day right now and have it track you all day.
Yeah, it's not a life monitor.
It's kind of right, exactly.
We don't know.
It's kind of what I'm getting at.
We don't know that, but you can imagine. I would argue that you can imagine that's where they're going, right?
Yeah.
I would really love it if that's where they're going. Yeah, I think that would be great. Honestly, that's something that I would really get into, especially since, I mean, I could see some use cases for diabetics. I could see use cases for a lot of things.
So Libby, on their website, it says 2 to 3 days continuous use, up to 30 training sessions before recharging. That is impressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that you wear the same shirt for 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
I do that all the time.
So, but again, we were talking about this a little before the show. The way they have it set up, though, I think you could essentially change out the shirt, but still keep the monitoring.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Is the device, the little black box they call it, is a data module that records all the stuff. One thing I didn't mention about this shirt that is a true wearable is that the actual shirt or the fabric is interwoven with, is built with sensors, right? So it's not like a little add-on that sort of rips off and then you throw it in the washing machine. The actual shirt, unpowered, is just a regular fabric made out of, nano, or I'm guessing some sort of
nanotechnology.
Yeah, and then, or some sort of conductor that actually comes to life when that data module starts talking to her, lights it up. So it's dumb by itself, and then comes to life when it's, and it has that device has a module, some sort of Bluetooth, I'm guessing, or some way to sort of send that data wirelessly to a pretty impressive standalone app. This is where, like, if Cecilia was here, I'm sure she would be like, doing this. I'm doing my little future diatribe on her behalf, but this is the type of stuff that I get excited about.
I am with you. My aversion to the first minute of that commercial has nothing to do with my belief in the future of this technology.
Yes, I'm with Aaron on that. The commercial was beautifully shot, very artistically done, but it was a commercial.
Yeah.
My patience for commercials is very, very thin.
Yeah, I told you guys earlier. I skip all commercials. I don't watch any commercials.
And
final
feature is
everything you said. I agree with.
Yeah, I actually would encourage, if you think this is as awesome as last week. The awesome product was something that Steve pointed out, which was something blocks. It was basically like a
the blocks, yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of blew my mind. This blew my mind this week, and it's up for pre-order today. They got a lot of press on it, so they're ramped up and ready to go. They own their own patents, and
what was that price, by the way?
So that's a very good point. So I'm going through the pre-order. It's it's regularly $240, which is a little much for a shirt and sensor. But it's $190. It's $200 for limited pre-order. And I'm guessing the way I understand it is that module, that data module.
It looks like that includes that module, because you can also buy all 4 styles.
So you can. Yeah, you'll be able to eventually buy shirts for much less. But again, for $200, it's not. It's just not. I was telling Libby before. It's not a, a cotton shirt.
It's not outrageous.
It's a smart
no,
shirt.
It's really,
so.
especially
yes.
for workouts.
It's $200
it's not
for.
outrageous.
It's for one shirt. It's $200. For 4 shirts, it's $350. So I guess that most of that cost is just that little device you hook up to the shirt, and the shirt itself is only probably about $50.
Right. Perhaps. Yeah.
That's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
No, I would definitely try it out. I would
still
love to try it out.
For
And
no,
the
if I
little
were
black box-
you, I would buy it.
The little black box is not waterproof yet. It's water resistant to sweat and so it's not. You can't go swimming with it, which is obviously I don't know many people who go swimming with shirts on. But anyway, but yeah. Anyway. So interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that would defeat the purpose of the sensors, considering the sensors measure your sweat, right?
Yes, it actually. So they did a demo with the CEO did a demo with Robert Scoble, and it blew my mind. He opens up the app, and as he sort of swiped to the breathing part, right? As he breathes, you could see this little meter just go up, and he just normal breathe in, breathe in. And as he breathed heavily, you could actually see it just right in real time. The lag was almost non-existent, and I thought it was sort of put on. But yeah, it was a very, very impressive companion app, and that's why, like, after seeing that, I sort of took to Twitter and shot them an email and asked them whether we can start working on their SDK and API and all that stuff. They're still working on all of that. It's not out, but we want to work with them. We've got some pilot programs over at LinksFit that with universities and stuff like that that might greatly benefit from this. So we're going to be fanboys for now.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect fit for LinksFit. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's actually, so yeah, that's selfishly why I'm such a fanboy. But it's still an amazing product. I've not seen anything. It's an amazing team too, a bunch of PhDs and stuff like that. So I know it's a legit thing. But yeah, what really caught me off guard was the accuracy of what they were demoing for Scoble. So again, if you have a chance, go check it out and make your own judgment there. But
so the TinyTel. Oh, come on! Who put a Kickstarter smartwatch in here?
Just for you, Aaron.
That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's a Kickstarter smartwatch for kids.
But it's for kids.
There you go. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for kids.
Get them hooked early.
Leapfrogs. I'm not talking about this one either. That is the dumbest looking thing I've ever
Just to rub it in, I can tell you it's already surpassed its Kickstarter goal. It's now at $110,000.
I'm sure it has. Anything you put smart, it can be smart poop on Kickstarter, and it'll reach its funding goal. Smart poop on a stick. Funded.
So, are you looking at an upcoming product there?
Yep. I'm
so with this TinyTel wearable, it's a GPS tracker. On a serious note, I know a lot of helicopter moms and dads that want to sort of make sure that their kids are safe, and this might be something that does more than just track them. It actually tells the parent that the kids are actually, going to be sleepy when they get home, so the parents themselves can get some shut-eye. So it may.
Okay, I actually looked at it now.
Huh?
I actually looked at it now. It's not so bad. It's way better.
I'm here to keep. I'm here to kind of keep things together. Don't worry.
Hey, this is way better than what we're about to talk about.
The Leapfrog is.
Man, that looks so
the
bad.
Tamagotchi Fitbit mashup. Go.
It's the Tamagotchi.
Yeah,
I believe the article actually called it an unholy combination of Fitbit and Tamagotchi.
It is an unholy. I like how you wrote that. The unholy combination of a Fitbit and Tamagotchi. That is terrible.
No.
That is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Okay. No, it's not. So let me give you.
It's like the third worst.
Okay, good. That I can agree. No, seriously. One thing that our kids are lacking. I'm saying our kids as if I have a kid. I don't, for the record, have.
Me neither.
Kids. I'm expecting, but I'm not yet a parent. But I can imagine. By listening to puppet heads and pundits on TV, that kids are not getting enough exercise, and my career is to sort of help change that. There was this app last year at Sogi's first hackathon by Jeff Bond and a whole bunch of other guys.
Glass Frogger?
Glass Frogger.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, things like that, anything to keep the kid moving is awesome. So I haven't read about this. This is the first I'm hearing about this Leap Band device from Leapfrog.
I'm sorry. I just you know how they kept us moving when we were kids? They said go outside. Not put a watch on you and play a game.
Kids are
go
different.
Outside and do something. Just go do something.
So listen, it's different from us. They're grown up watching TV and playing video games, or they're playing on the things. Anything to get them out. It might be actually harder for parents today to get them out.
Agree.
You know, so if there's something, if there's a little pet that they have to keep alive by just running around like madmen, little mad midgets, whatever, they let them do that. You know.
Well, how long will it take for them to figure out that you can shake the watch around and keep the pet alive?
I learned how to be awesome at Wii tennis without having to move off the couch at all.
Yeah.
All the Wii Fit stuff. So, you know, I see what you're saying. I just came back from visiting some family in Houston, and my cousin there is telling me how, you know, he has to always watch the kids, and these kids are like 8 and I think one's 12, and they don't let them leave their sight. He's like, no, they only go outside if I'm watching them, and I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you can't let your kids just run around a neighborhood anymore, and I'm like, you can't let your kids maybe run around. My kids are, when I have kids, get out of the house. I don't care. The playground's around the corner, across the 3 streets, whatever. Be safe.
All right.
You know, maybe if I had a GPS tracker. My thought was a drone.
What?
Drone follow them?
That's not creepy at all.
No, you put the Tamagotchi horribleness on their watch, on their wrist, and then you use the GPS to have a drone follow them to the playground, and then every once in a while, if the drone gets dead, it like comes back and swaps out with another one automatically.
So you're going to have a nanny drone on your kids now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Rather than having to watch them and keep them inside, and
that gives a new meaning to helicopter.
Helicopter
exactly.
Yeah,
Quadcopter parent.
Drone parent.
Octocopter or quadcopter mom.
That's at least a $10,000 idea. Somebody go make that.
Kickstarter.
Yeah. Kickstarter. Yeah, the smart drone. Or something. The
So
nanny drone.
in our audience chat, Reg1167 states, "Our parents, I think, because parents are too lazy these days."
Oh,
I think
everybody is too lazy these days. I'm too lazy.
But yeah.
Moving along. Oh, Jeff said something about was anybody interviewed with Alexander or something? I don't know. I wasn't. I don't know. I guess.
Oh.
Nobody interviews me anymore.
Noble just
Noble doesn't even want to talk to me anymore.
I think he was lagging earlier.
That's it. We're throwing a party. It's all about pity. All right. Where were we? Moving along. Virtual reality. That's all it says. VR. Oh, we're going to talk about the Oculus again. This is cool. Sir David Attenborough is making a wildlife VR documentary.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of an older story I threw up there because it just honestly sounded so awesome. If anybody doesn't know David Attenborough, he's the guy that did like the Planet Earth series.
Oh,
and,
he's
Life
amazing.
series.
He's been doing wildlife documentaries for forever.
Right. But as far as like big ones that people in the U.S. might have caught, they don't watch BBC.
Yeah, he is BBC.
Those ones are huge and they're amazing. So anyway, the idea here was that using I guess some kind of drone-like device and capturing like fully immersive like 360 panos, there's some kind of Oculus Rift app for that. So
that would be really interesting. Watching a documentary
through an Oculus Rift.
I think so. I think that's the idea. But that would be really neat to really fully immerse yourself into a documentary.
Is that enough to convince you to buy an Oculus Rift?
No.
Okay.
It would have been when this article first came out because I think it was like a day before the Facebook acquisition. So.
So is an Oculus Rift a consumer device or a business?
It is. It is a consumer device at this point.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really available, but I mean,
I'm not sure I would actually call it a device yet.
It's still developer versions of it, and actually, I don't think they're actually selling it right now.
I do take that back. That's right. You were able to pre-order it, but it was open to the public to pre-order. But right now, the pre-orders are all developer devices.
Isn't now you can only get it if you have like a certain number of Facebook followers? Like you have.
Oh, serious?
500,000
I didn't know
followers.
that. Wow.
I'm just kidding. I made that up just now.
Oh, okay. We could start that rumor.
That's a good rumor. Yeah, so everybody, make sure you spread that because that's definitely true, for sure. You have to have 500,000 followers to get an Oculus Rift now.
Yeah, even though Facebook won't allow you 500,000 followers, I don't believe.
Oh, or whatever the max is. You have to have at least as many as Ashton Kutcher.
Wow.
I don't know. Does he have a lot? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Anyways, I have completely ruined this show, and I'm proud of it. Cast AR as a progress update. They have. Wasn't this in there last week? We talked about this already. That's old. Skip it.
It is old, though.
They hired more people. Yay.
Discussion time, yay.
Discussion. Hand gestures to control glass. Thoughts? Noble.
It's not socially. It's not the norm to sort of wave your hands around.
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't.
What are you talking about?
I wave my hands around all the time.
Well, no, not to. I mean, I don't think. I think people, even playing games in public, the released games. I should say that there's once it becomes as normal as sort of looking down at your phone. Hand gestures to control glass might be useful. Actually, there's some interesting projects by on-the-go platforms. I don't know whether you know those guys, but they're based out of Portland. Ryan Fink and I have chatted quite a bit about the work that they're doing, and what they basically do is with Google Glass they're able to sort of you keep your hand out and actually has it lock on your hands, and you're able to sort of do things like sort of swipe through your timeline. So when you sort of move your hand backwards like this, it actually moves your timeline back without having to touch your glass. And in the professional field, when you have people like surgeons whose hands are sterile and may not want to sort of touch an actual device, having a hands-free gesture-based control makes this a viable option that literally can help save lives, right? So there is a use case for it. There are lots of use cases for it. I won't knock it till I try it, and as long. The one thing I should caveat that I want to say before I hand this off, like I think the whole idea of Minority Report style interface control doesn't work, and that's just a weird thing that I've noticed. Kinect, the Xbox Kinect has had this sort of wave functionality, and it works great, and in theory it sounds fantastic. I just saw a Kickstarter about something similar, about the guy who actually designed and consulted for that movie for Minority Report, talk about his work, and it's amazing. You've got maps, and you can take data sets and just sort of throw it on the globe and spin it around just by looking at it, but it's exhausting. Who wants to keep their hands out 100? No, it's so it might be useful for some things, but not. It might be a secondary use for it, but not.
I agree. I don't like holographic displays either. They always look ridiculous. Like the Tony Stark one in Iron Man. He's like.
Well, for a specific, what I'm saying is that
it's over there now.
For a specific use case, like a doctor or a surgeon in the middle of a specific task, or Tony Stark in the middle of sort of visualizing something. Trying to sort of dig in deeper, it might make sense to sort of move, throw the mouse and keyboard aside for a second and actually interact with the device like you would something in the real world, right? So sort of dive into something and actually sort of manipulate it with your hands. That makes sense.
In the chat window, Jeff is saying when you look at some of the first thing you always look at is their hands before their eyes. This is left over from 100,000 years ago when self-defense was instinctual. Public hand gestures equals way too awkward.
I agree, but I want to see supporting evidence.
Yeah, I agree that I don't think this is probably a very viable. I appreciate the creativity and the idea of it, but I think probably in those very niche circumstances where you can't control it, the voice is going to be the way that people probably are going to control it. And like you said, Noble, I've seen that similar article to where it is exhausting to have to like keep your body upright and hands out for like significant amount of time.
I feel like you said, I think there are use cases. Like the surgeon is a great use case, and there's things when construction would probably be another good one where you're not
Cooking.
Cooking would be a good one too. Right, when your hands are busy, but talking to in the general public, you're going to look like a crazy person if you're going like this or
Well, I mean, I mean, I think even in those cases you guys are saying, I still think voice is going to make a little bit more sense because to get your hand in the field of view, I've seen it tried too many times, and like you were saying with the Kinect, we have a similar thing with the Samsung TV over here. It never kind of picks up on the stuff. It's
I think everybody is both right and a little bit wrong. I find speaking to a device in public is also awkward. As well as moving your hands around. So they're both kind of awkward. I think they should probably both be options, so you can pick and choose whether you want. Obviously, the hand technology has a long ways to go. I don't think you should have to like hold your hand out there, get it calibrated, and then do it. It should be natural. You see something there, you can grab it and bring it to your forefront or something, or you move it out of the way, whatever. I think if you can make it natural.
You just invented a great secondary use case for. Wow, that's a brilliant idea. So, say for example,
I'm usually full of them.
Follow me for a second. Say for example, let's sort of paint the scene here. You're walking in the park on a date, Keith and Libby. You're going on a date, and you're in the park, and you see a plant that you've never seen before, and you say something like, "Okay, glass, lock on," or what? Identify. And what happens there is, imagine a silhouette or an outline of that plant is sort of placed in place, so you can continue walking around, and you can just it'll just sort of stay there until you're ready to interact with it, and just sort of reach out and pick it up and then sort of throw it at your face or something like that, and then it gives you information, or you can just swipe it away and then move on with being little lovebirds and stuff like that.
That sounds awesome.
There are secondary use cases for these things, but again, when we talk about hand gestures, people sort of look at that question just like we were talking about the Movera, right? It's not an all or nothing, right? There should be an option, and if it makes sense as a primary input-output, it would be sort of the way of the lay of the land. That's how people are going to start interacting with it. But over time, if it's exhausting, people aren't going to use it. And you mentioned your Samsung TV is a perfect example. I know a lot of people with that functionality who've never used it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Libby, and then I'll say something.
Oh no, I was going to say I know there's definitely value in the technology. I think what they're doing up in Portland, I think it's important and it's necessary. I just don't know if it pairs too well with glass as an everyday use case.
So,
I mean, everyday use case. No, it's not an all or nothing. But go ahead, Keith.
Right.
Oh, so I mean, I guess this applies specifically to glass, but I think it would apply to most heads-up display type devices, and that's that. You're never going to have the camera placed where your eye is, so you're always going to be kind of moving your hand in an unnatural place. Like if you want to gesture in front of you, like if I did this at this level, probably the glass camera isn't even going to see it. Like I have to go up here and like be extra. I don't know. It's a little bit odd.
I think we will have cameras in our vision soon enough.
Okay, so let me sort of nix this whole conversation because I didn't realize with the iteration of glass that we have, hand gestures aren't going to work at all.
No.
Let's think about it for a second.
I agree. It's not a good mechanism.
In order for that to work, you have to have the camera perpetually on. And we all know what happens when the camera is on for, oh wait, they removed Hangouts because the camera, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. Not with XE. Not with, what do you call these, the Explorer editions.
Huh?
I think we can move on, unless...
Let's move on. I agree. In the current edition, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think there is a use case for all sort of inputs. One thing we didn't talk about, and I know everybody hates talking about this, is the privacy aspect. People sometimes don't want other people to know what they're doing. And so maybe saying something out loud or doing a visual hand gesture isn't the best way to move stuff or to interact with a device. Just something else for thought. Maybe you want to touch a touchpad and...
Oh wait, this whole conversation was about on-the-go platforms. I just clicked on the link. I know exactly who these guys are. We're actually working working together. We haven't yet sort of taken a plunge with their software yet, but there's a lot of promise. I should say. I should give them.
All right.
I will say you skipped over one article that I just feel has to be. Did you see this Birdly thing by chance?
I skipped over Birdly.
Back in the no, it's okay. I think it's the second one. You just have to see it if you haven't seen it. The second one on the VR section.
Oh, second one on the VR section. Oh, okay. No, I didn't see it because there was nothing next to it. I thought those were all links to the different. Oh my gosh! Yes, I saw this.
Wait.
I'll give it a try.
Oh.
This is an immersive experience where basically you're wearing an Oculus Rift laying on some sort of platform.
Oh my goodness! Yes, I saw.
Flappy Bird.
Flying like a bird. You've got a little fan to give you some feedback, I guess.
So it's basically.
I want him to bring it to the barbecue.
So you can do Flappy Birds, right? Yeah. So it's a Flappy Bird game in real life.
Yeah. From
the bird's perspective. I want to see this. I've not seen the video yet. I really do want to watch it at some point.
I really hope they make a Kickstarter project out of this, just so I can give Aaron that much more reason to be interested.
Hey, this is a Kickstarter project I could get behind. This is clever. This is ridiculous, but clever. Like, you can't.
But again, this won't be like a consumer thing, right? I'm sure this is like for the mall.
I'd buy for the barbecue if it was cheap enough. All right, I'm calling it. Show over. Let's talk about events. So again, technically, show's not over, but the meat of the show is over. So now we're on to the buns, or potatoes, or whatever. The Spetzel. Glass event at the Computer History Museum. Man, I want to go to that place. I tried to go there once and it was closed. So disappointed.
It's a really fun place. It is a pretty cool museum.
Check on glassalmanac.com for the schedule. Also, or the date is Friday, May 9th, and they're expecting 100 explorers. That's awesome, man.
Well, it was limited to 100. They probably would have had as many as they could fit. But...
No, it's limited to 100.
Although I think they have increased that number because I think there was some issue with registration. So it's probably closer to about 200. I mean, it's still very limited.
I think 100 is what they were setting it for, and people probably dropped off because they couldn't make it or whatever.
Maybe.
I guess there's a Maker Faire. Which Maker Faire is this one? May 17th?
The Maker Faire. This is like the big one.
Well, don't they have them all over the country?
They do.
Yeah, they've expanded.
One in the Bay Area.
This is in San Mateo, and if you're in the Bay Area and you haven't been before, you really have to go. This is like ground zero for all the most awesome Maker
Faire Bay Area. It's not the Maker Faire. It says Maker Faire Bay Area.
There was a time when there was only one Maker Faire, and this is where it was.
Maybe.
All right, I want to sort of interject with I forgot to put an event that is near and dear to my heart in this. So last week I mentioned a project that I'm doing, Glass Education. Is a sort of guerrilla style, apologize later type thing that I normally do, where I go to Capitol Hill and find a member of Congress and I slap glass on his face and tell him ask him what he thinks about glass, and just to sort of,
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Just to get some feedback. It's actually really, really fun. I'm actually compiling a list of these. Next week, on the 12th, Monday, May 12th, I'm actually rolling this into another project that I did last year. So I'm sort of bringing two projects together. I've got something called Innovation Afternoon with Google Glass, with a couple buddies of mine who also have glass locally here. Last year, I did the same thing at Howard University's STEM kids it's a middle school STEM for STEM students, and these kids just blew my mind. So we decided to do it again, and we'll do it again, and we'll do it again. This time it's at T.C. Williams High School, and it's an event that focuses on the economic and social potential of Google Glass. And it allows these students and even some of the parents to learn about glass and why it's how it works and why it's different. And during the event, we're going to try to give sort of an in-depth demo. I'm going to to give them links fit. We're going to record it. Over the course of these next few weeks, I'm actually recording all of these, and I don't yet know what I'm going to do with this series. But starting from that thing last year was super inspiring, and then this glass education thing on the Hill, Aaron, it's actually going to be super interesting to watch. So have that in the back of your. But if you're in the DC metro area, you can ping me, or you're in Northern Virginia. It's on Monday, the 12th. We're a little limited on space. We have a member of Congress coming, and I'm actually going to sort of pull that this new project I'm working on into that, and just sort of get his response. We're going to record that. Contact me on Google Plus or email me noble.ackerson@gmail if you're trying to sneak into this thing. It's going to be fun.
Very cool.
All right, Bike Across San Francisco.
So this is going to be on May 25th. We're going to do a little bike ride starting along the bay, like the waterfront area, and across Golden Gate Bridge to at least Sausalito, if not to maybe Tiburon, where they have some redwoods. So this is just sort of an outdoor SOGI activity. And
Wow.
If you're in the Bay Area, please join us.
Cool. Remember to stretch with Links Fit.
Yes.
We're adding more
I'll put that
stretching
in-
content and yoga content soon, I promise.
And then there's Augmented World Expo. I think a lot of people are speaking at that we know. Cecilia's speaking there. Are you speaking there too, Noble?
No, the way we do it is she does all the West Coast stuff, I do all the East Coast stuff.
Oh. And then you come together for the middle of this.
For Dallas, yes, absolutely, for the big end.
It brings everybody together. So yeah, that's May 27th through the 29th. Oh, I think I missed. I was going to submit to speak at that, and I think I missed the deadline. I've been too busy doing other stuff to come up with what I would even talk about. So, oh well. I won't be speaking there. Big surprise. I don't speak at anything, so no big deal. You get enough of me speaking. So, and then it's not on the list.
To attend as press based on, I believe, this show. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's not on the list, but since, I organize it, I'm going to add it anyways. We launched our new website for the Big Android Barbecue today.
Yeah.
Woo! I actually committed like 5 lines of code, so I'm officially a developer now.
All right.
Yeah, watch out, world. I'm going to break stuff, for sure. And I did break stuff, but I fixed it.
With your 5 lines of code?
Yeah, well, so I ended up submitting more, but yeah, I broke some things, but then I fixed them. And I fixed a bug that I didn't even cause. Somebody else had a bug, and I fixed it.
Wow.
So, like, legit developed. No, it's just HTML. It's really nothing special.
And for anybody that doesn't know the Big Android Barbecue, it's got barbecue for a reason.
Yeah, bigandroidbbq.com. We launched our call for speakers today, too, so get in there and submit your sessions.
Is it okay if I call it the unconference?
It is kind of an unconference, but I don't know. I feel like we've become more of a conference. Call it a, I don't know, funference?
A fun conference?
Funference?
So it's
That
a
sounds
party.
stupid, right?
If you've never been to the barbecue, definitely support my man Aaron. Show up
Support me.
at the Hearst Center. It is a fun time if you use Android, or even if you're curious about Android.
We're doing a lot more wearable stuff. We had 4 sessions on Glass last year. I still think we were probably one of, if not the first conference to cover smartwatches, because we had a smartwatch session 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
Wow.
at the first barbecue. MetaWatch did a session.
Wow.
I think. Maybe it was the second barbecue. One of the first 2 barbecues had a session at MetaWatch. And they were one of the first smartwatches out there after their Kickstarter. So we've been doing wearables for a while. So if you're into wearables, we'll have you covered as well. And Android, pretty much all things Google. I mean, if it's if it's cool, we try and cover it because we like, I'm a geek and I want to enjoy the conference. So I organize it for people like us.
Yeah, it's a super fun conference.
So
Can we
tickets.
stop talking about the conference now?
Nope, tickets go on sale next week. Next Thursday, hopefully. I made it public. Now I've backed myself into a corner. I better finish the form. So.
You better write more than 5 lines of code.
Oh, I made the whole form, but it's like a WYSIWYG editor, so it's not like it's that hard. It's a form stack, which is actually pretty neat. We switched from Eventbrite this year. We're gonna try something new. So. All right, it's
I don't know who organizes your app, but like that app you guys had last year was like the most unbelievable conference app I've ever seen for like getting contact info and badges for like going to different sessions and stuff like that. It was really cool.
It was very cool.
The zombie apocalypse was a lot of fun. That was really cool. I like that touch.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun.
To make you feel like a rock star, Aaron, I was on the All About Android this week, and they have this arena to pick your favorite app. I actually submitted the Android Barbecue app because it's still in the Play Store.
It's not anymore.
It isn't?
I removed it yesterday.
Huh?
I took it off yesterday.
Yeah, but this was a few days ago.
Okay, cool.
This was a few days ago. I actually sent him the link, but it didn't seem as if that would make sense, so I switched it to a fitness app.
Oh, so you didn't actually submit the barbecue, but you thought about it.
Well, no. It just wasn't gonna work with it because it wasn't. I wasn't gonna win. I was trying to win, right?
I gotcha.
If your conference was that day, it might make sense. Yeah.
Well, maybe All About Android, now they've heard of the barbecue, so maybe they'll have somebody on or around the conference and they'll talk about our app or something. Because it's going to be even better this year. Like, we've already talked about fixing some things that didn't work great. I think we had some issues with, like, connecting your ID with your badge, and so we'll fix
Everyone
that.
got infected at the end, right?
No, not everybody.
I know a couple people that were staying, they were shielding themselves.
But if you don't know what we're talking about regarding infected, show up at the Android Barbecue. Yeah. That's how you tease an event.
Yeah.
I'll take my check later. I'll take my check in Bitcoin.
I don't have any Bitcoin. All right, let's close it out. Good talk tonight. Make sure everybody comes back next week. Tell your friends. Let's grow this show. Let's get like 25 people watching.
All right, we'll get 6 next week.
6, yeah. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Bye.